Got it started. Okay, so hi guys, this is just a little very, very early morning pearls of wisdom minus the grammar. Listen, I started doing this series and I am going to continue it. I started doing this series. Hi, thanks for joining. I started doing this series of inspirational quotes early in the morning so we can wake up together. And it is earlier than when I'm going to do it. I am going to do it again today, but more like at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock this morning. Definitely not right now, but yeah, actually right now. This thing just happened. So I had a kind of disturbing night. Different things just got under my skin and annoyed me, and it's especially powerful and stormy out. And so it has a way of just heightening everything. And I couldn't get to sleep. So I said, what can I do? So I spent time with my dogs, but I couldn't get to sleep. So the next thing to do was the obvious thing to do. Go to Netflix, go to Hulu. If I had a Blu-ray player, it would be put something in the Blu-ray player. But I need to put on something that immediately helps transport my mind to a safe place. So I went to one of my happy places, which is construction. Um, Basically, it's almost like watching Design Home. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a British show. It's called Grand Designs. It's been on for ages, and I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to a lot of different things. Anything that's positive and makes me feel good and happy and like ready to go. And anyways, I was watching it, and finally, after about an hour, I fell asleep. And when I woke up, all these different visions of things that go, zooming by when it's at the end of the episode were going by, and I saw all these beautiful snapshots of different things, and I thought, that's what I should be doing. That's what I should be doing with my life, is figuring out that perfect house and how to make it. And then, I moved on to some other things, and I realized, no, what I should do is I should talk about the things that I should be doing on YouTube. I should share that because there's other INFJs out there who get into this place where you're constantly planning. You're constantly planning, then all of a sudden you're not doing anything. And then I thought, no, I can't talk about that. And then this video came up and that video came up. You know what it's like when you're on YouTube. And the thing is, I was actually trying to get away from the computer, but the next video that came up, or rather the last video that came up, was one of my favorite INFJ creators. And he was talking about inspiration and motivation. I was like, oh, that's right up my alley. And I realized that he had it completely right. And that's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorites out there. Because it's true. We have this intuition, and it's introverted, and it's interior. And it's sort of like if you had your house right on a ley line. What if there was a crack in the foundation of that house and the vapors were coming up through it? What if basically it was like a Dianic temple? That's what your mind is like. That's what your body is like if you're an INFJ. You're standing there on hollowed ground and you're waiting for the smoke-filled inspiration to come and cloud your mind and give you different, very sort of subtle signals about where to go and what to do next. It's a creative person's mind. It really, really is. And it can end up running havoc with your actual schedule because you don't want to go and make an actual schedule because you're busy planning what you're going to do after you make the schedule. And then eventually you get so frustrated that it goes by the wayside, and you go on to something else, and you come back and you go, oh, all I need to do next is make that schedule. So then you go and you plan the hell out of that schedule. And then you get frustrated again because you know there's going to be something out of the clear blue that messes everything up. And you don't know what it could be. And then that feels defeatist. So then you stop so you can get your head on straight. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. And the truth is, what you left out is everything else. There's this quote that says, life is what happens while you're making plans. Well, here's my plan, here's my life, that guitar. I love music so, 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 so much. And I was so embarrassed growing up because my mom has this beautiful voice. Even now, after she's passed away, anyone who's heard it in the past, it's clear as day for them to hear again because it was a beautiful singing voice. And she was naturally very talented with violin, and she was just naturally very, very talented. And I felt so inferior whenever she would sing. I was like, and I'm going to try and do that? I'm going to try and compete with that? I know what you're thinking. Why are you competing with your mother? I wasn't competing with my mother, but I'm a little bit competitive. So I'm just like, I can't sing. Well, she can sing like that. Listen to that. She's amazing. And then as she started to lose her voice, I was like, oh, I feel so bad. Now I feel like I can sing because there's nothing better to compare it to because, this doesn't sound that great. She sounds amazing. But then I was also really upset because nobody else was hearing her voice and her voice was amazing. And I wanted them to hear it. And every chance that I had after she helped me buy this beautiful, beautiful guitar, every chance that I had, I was practicing these different jazz chords for a very specific Julie London song that was her favorite, so that one year she could record at least a couple of the lines from that song, and I could play that if need be separately, and then marry the two together on a couple of tracks, so she could get to really record a cover of one of her favorite songs, which was something she'd always wanted to do that she didn't have a chance to do, or maybe she did have a chance to do and probably put it off for me. So the thing is, I never did it. I wanted to so much. I tried so hard, and I got really, really close. And then when I finally got those jazz chords down, she couldn't sing them. She couldn't sing the lines. And it tore me up inside. And I think I've been kicking myself over that ever since because I still have this guitar and I still practice with this guitar. But lately since lockdown, I was supposed to be working on a book of a family member on my uncle's book, illustrating his book, because that's one of the things I do is draw, and usually illustrations like not on command. But so the thing is, yeah, he told me just last minute after the quarantine started, he didn't want me to do it while I was in quarantine. And I was so, so upset at first. So upset. And I said, don't need that book. I'll write my book. So my book has been in the planning stage since I was 4 or 5, literally. And it's been growing with me. And the ideas have gotten more and more interesting, more and more crazy, more and more cool, more and more weird, more and more out there from all different things that I've ever learned about or ever glimpsed in my life. There's a chapter for this book, which is why it's kind of my never-ending story. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to finish writing it. And I planned a little while ago that when I do actually publish it, I'm going to keep updating it with new chapters or new pictures for areas where there are no pictures. And it's just stupid because what I need to do is get past the planning it and into the actual completing the drawings of it, because I have all these sketches. I've never completed the sketches because I always felt bad that I hadn't already figured out how to paint them just right. Basically, I was so busy planning that life happened, and it's something that I keep learning. So I wanted to share that for all the other INFJs that are out there that might be having a hard time sleeping right now. If you're near a computer or a laptop or a tablet and you happen to be here, just know it's not a coincidence. And this isn't necessarily me telling you as a outside person to help persuade you towards what your intuition was telling you, to confirm with your intuition, yes, go off and do something else now. It's my way of saying, yes, we can. Do you remember that amazing speech that President Barack Obama gave? And during it, he said, yes, we can. You know what? It's kind of one of the best speeches ever, because that is the best thing that you can possibly say. And it seems like it's the best thing you could possibly say because it seems like it's the least plausible thing that any of us would ever say. Yes, we can. Who has the spine to say that? Who has the strength of character to say that and not worry about people laughing at them or pointing at them or turning off their video or whatever? Well, I do. And yes, we can. And you know what? Yes, we can pick up that guitar and be pissed off at ourselves for not being able to play it better. And yes, we can one day play it amazingly. I've had so many times where I've had breakthroughs on this very guitar, and I got so upset with myself for not having had the breakthrough sooner. So much so that I stopped myself from moving on and having an even better breakthrough. The last time that I started playing, I just started playing chords that came to mind, and I'm not really sure how I did it. That's a humongous breakthrough because what I had been working on was playing by ear, and I was playing by ear. And I stopped myself again because I felt like, well, if I have to choose between practicing on this or writing out some more plans for the book, I feel like I'd be more successful at writing out plans for the book in a more fluent way than the way I'm going to be playing the guitar. So is it a I'm going to succeed more, or is it a I'm going to suck less list? Either way, was it actually more like what I wanted to do or more like what I thought I should do? Well, what I really wanted to do was that. What I really thought I should do was the book. And what really, really needs to happen is both. And I'm so sorry for my allergies. My nose is itching like crazy. The fact is, what all INFJs need and what you need if you're awake right now this late at night is A, sleep, and B, peace of mind, because the peace of mind is going to lead to sleep. And here's what you need to know in order to have that. What you might be missing, possibly, if you're up right now and you're feeling stressed out and all this stuff, is what you might need. And what you might need is balance. Maybe the book that I'm writing that has been in writing for, most of my life, for, more than 20 years, maybe that doesn't actually take precedence over the guitar that's been in my life for 4 or 5 years. Maybe my need to get my music out isn't more important than my need to get my book out. Maybe they're both just as important because I need both of those things in my life. Or maybe what I actually need is the positive redirection of my attention. Maybe it's not so much in winning the race, but just actually making the race, being a part of it and experiencing it. I think that's what it is. So the next time you feel like, oh, I can't do this because I should really do that because I'm not going to win at this more, or I'm not going to be as fluent at that as much as I will be at this, or I need to do that, or I need to do this. Take it from me, because you know what? Just yesterday, this was another thing. This was a thing that I wanted to do a while ago, and I decided that, I couldn't do it just because I wanted to do it. I needed to get some sort of outside confirmation of an inside idea, an inside inkling to tell me out of the clear blue, like the outside world going, yes, you do need to do that thing. Because that's how I feel. I get so many intuitive feelings and intuition, and from time to time something that's almost like premonitions that I feel like, well, I can't know if that was cockamamie bullshit versus the real deal. Unless someone who I don't know comes up to me and out of the clear blue goes, yes, you should start a podcast. And that's what happened. And what that feels like for intuitive people, for INFJ type people, is sort of like when they're on a submarine and they have to do, key, turning key, inserting key, inserting key. It's like one person's already turned the key and you're just waiting to find out if it's the right thing to do or not, because you're not going to take one step further and do anything until, haha, I'm a complete stranger. I know nothing about what your prior plans have been, but hey, I think you should do this thing. And I don't even really know why I'm saying that, but I think you might want to hear that. And I think maybe you should go ahead and do it now. That is the confirmation from the outside world, especially for an INFJ, going, key turned, go ahead with your business. Onwards and upwards. Sky's the limit. Sky is not the limit. Ocean is not the limit. The universe is not the limit. Nothing's the limit. Go get it. Go do it. Go get them. That's what it felt like the other day when out of the clear blue, I saw someone that I haven't seen for almost a year. And it was not planned. It was something that could have happened, but didn't really seem like a thing that would happen. And I was talking about my YouTube channel because there are some darker themes that sometimes I wanted to share. It's not so much they're depressing or whatever, it's about what it's like to be a caregiver, and usually everyone turns off the video whenever they hear anything about that. And I was expressing how I wish that somebody would stay because I wanted to share how positive all the successes can be when you start off from a positive place and when you use natural materials or more natural alternatives versus more synthesized alternatives. Like, for instance, fake vitamins. A lot of times if you get a multivitamin, you'll get redundant synthesized vitamins. So you'll get basically real vitamin D, and then you'll get a fake vitamin D. You'll get an imitation, and they'll both be in the one product. And one has side effects, including the fact that it never really leaves your body, whereas the other one makes you feel good and strong. And it does have a shelf life, but it's very much worth it. And I wanted to share that with people. But in order to hear that part, you kind of need to hear some negative parts. And I was just sharing with him my frustration at not being able to share the overall good, because people were turning off the videos when I started to talk about caregiving because they were just, I think, just uncomfortable with the idea of listening about caregiving. And he said, well, you should do a podcast. That's what you need to do. And it was just so weird because I've mentioned that before. I bitch. I complain. I've mentioned that before to people and they've never said, oh, you should do a podcast. But when he did that, it was like I was literally just thinking about this for the past 3 days. And I wasn't trying to get him to say do a podcast. I wasn't mentioning radio or anything like that. He came up with podcast, and it was like click the other keys and in the ignition, and it's turned. And I said, well, I actually did have the idea. I'd love to do that, but I don't actually know how to do that. And he's like, there's no problem. I do. So long as you have some recording software, I know how to do that. And you already have my number, so we should share stuff, and you should do that. And I was just like, oh, wow, cool. Really, really cool and weird. And oh, wow. It's one of those things. Sometimes you wait to hear from the outside, just like an echo. Like you could shout out over the Alps, am I crazy? And then you wait to hear a disembodied voice from somebody else go, no, you're not. And you go ahead and you take off and you fly your kite and you catch lightning, whatever it should be. You do whatever it is that you really want to do in the first place, meaning you actually do it and you don't plan it. Planning it is like doing it to some small extent, but the difference is that when you actually start doing it, you feel so much better. But it's like almost like you're afraid that you're going to tear out a Band-Aid and you're going to be left with this, oh no, this bare skin, it really hurts. In actuality, is the exact opposite. When you start actually doing the thing that you've been planning and you stop planning it and you do like what that particular INFJ creator was saying, it's amazing. It's just incredible. The sky opens up. You can see more of the colors. It's just a wonderful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Everything gets better once you start doing it. And yes, you can sound like crap right now while you practice. And yes, you can get better. Because if you're practicing right now, then you are getting better. And yes, you can focus on what you're doing versus what you didn't do versus what you might not be doing. And you have to. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. We really, really can. And yeah, every now and then it just really, really helps to hear something like that from another person who's in a similar situation. Look, you know what? I'm attacking this book, and then I just stopped earlier today because I realized that I wanted to spend more time. I literally thought I have to stop myself from coming up with another chapter because I don't want to get in the way of my planning phase. My planning phase for this book has been going on almost my entire life. But my drawing for this book went on for about a year and then stopped. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking at all my different illustrations that I have left because I got frustrated. This is like how INFJs are destroying their stuff when they get mad. I got frustrated and I started giving all my stuff away. I specifically gave away my best stuff. Now I don't have most of my best stuff, but I have all of my best ideas. And if I stop beating myself up for doing that self-sabotaging that I did, then yes, I can actually complete this book. And if I stop beating myself up for when I get tired while I'm writing or sketching the book, then yes, I can go and practice my beautiful guitar over there. Yes, I can. And yes, you can, whatever it is that you truly want to practice. Even if it's something that's social, it might seem really, really hard to do. But the fact is, there's a lot of ways to make connections with people without ever having to shake hands. And there's plenty of cultures around the world that can show that. There's plenty of cultures, there's plenty of ways, and there's plenty of days that you can make the thing that you truly want to happen. Because, yes, you can start today after you get some sleep. Maybe try and get a nap. I'm just saying. Unless it's like physically dangerous for you to go and get a nap right now, then don't listen to me. But okay. Anyways, I hope that gave somebody some sort of inspiration for the day, and I hope that I helped someone somewhere with something. And yeah, you know what? When I started suddenly just ripping off the band-aid in all these different areas of my life today, it was like suddenly everything started to zoom forward. I started hanging pictures, and that made me feel a little bit more bold. And then I started doing all these different things that usually I would hang back from doing, and I would do like one of those things a day. And instead, I just felt so much better by the end of it. And I realized, yeah, I may be a little bit fuzzy on what some of my original plans had been for that last chapter. But that last chapter isn't dead, it isn't finished living, because this entire book lives in me. I keep coming up with chapters of it, and I'm going to keep completing it for the rest of my life. And it's going to just get better and better and better as I get older and older. And more people will like it and love it and buy it and get the updated versions. It's going to be amazing, because it's already amazing even to me, and I am usually my worst critic. But I can only do that if I remind myself that yes, I can. So anyways, yes, I think I can go to sleep now. All right, I'll be back with more traditional inspirational quotes in like oh boy, oh no, 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. And I hope to see you guys there. And thank you for liking and subscribing if you have already. And if you haven't, please click the like and the subscribe and the bell notification. And I'll see you in 3 or 4 hours with a good morning inspirational quote or two. Love you guys so much. Yes, you can. Make your dreams come true. Good night.